Okay, I'm going to sort of demonstrate in a half-assed way, since I don't have an assistant, how to apply one of these to a bus properly in a way that doesn't result in any bubbles. You'll notice that the center line is marked on the sign here, and also the baseline is marked. So the first thing you want to do is put this up on the bus and place it so that the center line is midway between the left end of the glass and the right end of the glass. Pretty obvious. Set the height the way you want it. And then once you got it precisely oriented exactly where you want it, you'll want to have your assistant hold it in place. And then what we're going to do is use the single hinge method for applying this thing. So you want to take some tape, masking tape, preferably this green stuff, which is really sticky. I'd recommend 2-inch tape instead of 2 passes of 1-inch tape. Okay, so that's our hinge. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to lift this up away from the bus, and then your assistant needs to carefully remove the paper from the back of this thing and then peel the paper away from the sign. That needs to be done very carefully. And so now it's important that the sign not touch the side of the bus. Let's try to orient this a little better. Yeah, okay. So what you want is you want your assistant to come down here and hold the sign, and it needs to be held square. It can't be twisted one way or another. You need to find the center of it and get it good and square. And your assistant needs to hold the end maybe 4 or 5 inches away from the side of the bus. So then what you're going to do, while your assistant holds it on both corners, is you're going to take this squeegee and run it down the sign like this while your assistant maintains the 4 or 5 inches away from the bus. Doing it this way prevents any bubbles from forming, or prevents most bubbles from forming. And now, since the side of the bus isn't actually flat like this table, you're going to need to bend the squeegee a little bit so that the curvature of the squeegee is the same as the curvature of the bus, and then you'll drag it along holding the curve in place, because what you want is you want for this to be contacting the full width of the sign as you work your way down the sign. Okay, once you've put it in place, what you want to do is burnish the whole sign very carefully. And you want to use a fair amount of pressure here. Start by doing it vertically, perhaps, like that, and then, what the heck, do it horizontally, too. And so you're getting bubbles out, and you're ensuring that this thing is going to stick well. Now, whoops, I was supposed to do it horizontally then. Anyhow, so then be sure to get all of the borders, rub them very thoroughly, because the borders are usually the thing that's going to give you trouble. So burnish the borders very, very carefully. Now remember, the backing paper would be off the sign at this point, so we're sticking it to the bus. Then after you're sure you've burnished it very thoroughly, what you can do is take the front off of it, and that'll leave the vinyl on the bus. So the most important thing, I think, is having an assistant that you can communicate easily with and who is good at reading your telepathic signals. The most important thing for the assistant to do is keep this nice and square when it's being applied, and that requires a hand on each corner like I demonstrated before. Let's do it one more time. So the assistant needs to hold the corners like this, nice and taut, with no bending. You know, it's got to be straight, so there shouldn't be a bump on either side. And you want to hold it 4 or 5 inches out before you hit it with the squeegee. All right, so if you do that properly, you'll have a beautiful sign that's centered and level and bubble-free. Good luck.